Are you serious? Are you serious? It's a very sad situation developing, but this happens in the Middle East. 40, there's no mercy here at all, no mercy. 40 jihadi brides have been sentenced to death by an Iraqi court after just having a 10-minute hearing. According to reports, these jihadi brides, many of them are there's no doubt, many are absolutely innocent and did not realize what they were getting into or what happened to them. The country is dealing with this deadly sentence of dozens of ISIS jihadi brides after breaking free of the terror group's occupation. These women finally getting free from their jihadi husbands, a lot of them who died as part of ISIS fighters. The women with their children fleeing are then picked up by the Iraqi government and then held and then tried in a 10-minute trial, many of which have been sentenced to death for execution. 40 of them were sentenced for execution here yesterday. Many of them find little sympathy with the Iraqi judiciary and the local people, and they're despised for their support of their militant family, their militant husbands who tore this country apart in Iraq in 2014 through 2017. But the French citizen, Jamila, she's 29 years old. She appeared in court last month and claimed, I thought I had married a rapper, okay, over in France. It was only when we arrived in Turkey on a vacation that I discovered my husband was truly a jihadist. I'm a victim. My husband beat me. He locked me up in a cave with my children when I refused to follow him to Iraq. She said she reappeared in court again last week, along with 14 other women. They brought her back in there again. And according to The Guardian, she begged to keep hold of her daughter. She is among an estimated 1,900 French citizens and 40,000 foreigners who did travel to Iraq to join ISIS in the so-called caliphate in Iraq and Syria. She said, I'm going mad here. I'm facing a death sentence or a life in prison. No one tells me anything. Not the ambassador, not people in prison. Don't let them take my daughter away. I am willing to offer up money if they can contact my parents. Please get me out of here. And according to the paper, at least 40 women have been sentenced to death, while it's believed around 300 jihadi brides in total have been executed by the Iraqi authorities since really the Iraqi onslaught, as far as the ISIS onslaught on that nation ended around 2000, really of this year. But more than 1,000 people are still held up in a Baghdad jails, having been identified either as members of ISIS or relatives of the fighters. So the women and children are being punished for what the husbands did. And actually in Arabic countries and actually historically even, this is a practice, barbaric as it is, that has been carried out for centuries in the Middle East. Matter of fact, most of these women are widows, their husbands are dead, and they didn't even know their husbands were jihadi fighters. And so now these women are in prison going to court. Now they brought 40 of them to court the other day, yesterday, and sentenced. I don't know how many they brought to court. 40 were sentenced to death. I don't know how many were brought in there. But certainly the jihadi brides are being punished. Some of them maybe were conspirators in this, but I would say most of them were totally caught unaware. Pray for this is what war brings at the end. The misery on the women, the children, the elderly, the weak. ISIS really, and you know what? Can we do I dare even bring up how ISIS was formed? Do I even talk about when Barack Obama pulled our troops out of Iraq, telling the enemy exactly the day we were leaving those Toyota trucks and rocket launchers and rockets and armored vehicles and M16 rifles. I mean, come on, guys. We just literally set these guys up. And then what they do? They ran through Iraq and Syria, beheading and butchering and raping and murdering and taking many women as jihadi brides. And now some of those women are standing here in court being put to death. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Yes, we are in the last days.